Gemini, this is your May 2024 soul story. If you've got a sun rising or moon in the sign, you might find these messages resonate and help you navigate through the next few weeks. Thanks for joining me on the channel. It's Romy here. We're opening up this month with the King of Cups. And, you know, sometimes we have to just start and allow the feeling to follow. We don't always have the motivation that we desire. We don't always have the inspiration we're looking for. Sometimes we don't have the how or the where or the what. And yet that first step is so important through this month of May because something is coalescing and it almost requires, like, the precursor to it is just that you have allowed this catalyst, like there's a trigger point, if you like, that takes place. Now, a lot of what's happening early on in May is behind the scenes for you as we move through Taurus season and your 12th house. And the King of Cups is bringing through a wisdom that feels otherworldly. It's almost like the entirety of the month you're acting with access to your higher mind in a clearer way than you ever have before. And this is a month where it is about doing it now and doing what it takes. Now, we see Pluto shifting retrograde in Aquarius from the 2nd of the month. And, you know, over the next 5 months, there will be a reflection around the way in which control, what we're trying to control, where we feel overly controlled, has been playing out for us. And an awful lot of opportunity for healing, especially in areas where we have addictions or a tendency towards things that we know have not been good for us, and where that shadow work has been faced and understood. And a spiritual and emotional maturity, which the King of Cups brings forth, you know, is now something that you are able to access through your conscious awareness in a time and space where you're just ready. You know, you can never force anyone to do anything before they're truly ready. And there's something about Gemini that it's taken you to this point to give yourself permission, but also because of the work that you've gone through and the willingness, I think, to allow bigger shifts to take place in your life. And that's what May is really about to deliver for you. Now, you do hate to be confined or limited in any way, and I think you're sitting in an awful lot of possibility through the month, but what we're also really seeking is to ensure that you can bring some focus so that you can start to see some material and tangible manifestations come in. That's going to require strength from you, the inner strength and resolve to be able to navigate what feel like some tricky circumstances. We know that you are constantly divinely guided and directed, supported and also protected, right? And as we come up towards the new moon in Taurus, there's something that's on your mind and in your heart, and I think you're weighing up whether, like, it's almost like, have I got what it takes? You know, have I the strength for this? Can I do this? The resounding answer to that is yes. And you will, because the very nature that strength is coming through here alongside the King of Cups, like, we have that emotional strength. And that's so important, right? Because that's the thing that's going to help us, no matter the twists and turns that surface, to be able to keep going. So you make a commitment around this new moon in Taurus at the same time as releasing something that's felt very heavy. And that takes strength as well, because oftentimes if we've got something in our life that's so entrenched and it's become, you know, part of the furniture, it's just something that we habitually kind of accept as, you know, just being a part of the day-to-day experiences, and to all of a sudden contemplate but actually get to a place where you're ready to say, okay, enough, or, you know, I'm letting this go. You know, it's huge. It's a huge choice. It's a huge decision, but it's one that I see you making through the month of May because of this turning point that's taking place. Now, I'm sure that the eclipse in April will have shaken and awakened you in some way, shape or form, and you will be also dealing with the fallout of that, you know, through the next few weeks. But May is a time where you can steady and ground your energy in a way that will really serve you. Now, as we come out of that new moon energy, we're going to see the asteroid goddess Ceres shifting retrograde in Earth sign Capricorn. what she's helping to teach us, along with Taurus in this particular season, is how to survive. Yeah, and of course in Capricorn it's, how to survive in terms of the way that we make our way in the world, our public image and reputation. But notably it's also about, as the circumstances and conditions and environment consistently keeps evolving, how do we keep up? How do we keep shape-shifting? Now, the mutability of your sign is a master of this, right? But what we're also looking for is, how do I feel secure within myself? And this is where your King of Pentacles is coming through, right? How do I feel strong enough to be able to keep evolving at the pace of things shifting and changing? How do I keep my head above water? How do I keep growing and thriving? And so that cycle with Ceres is really important. Now we see strength sat between these two kings. Remember, the kings represent a degree of mastery within the self, okay? And so where we've got the strength here, you're also demonstrating in May the mastery of these two archetypal energies. So from an emotional perspective, but also from the knowing what it takes to get things done. Yeah, so there's the practical aspect that comes in with your King of Pentacles. And this is why, like, I see you in an incredibly strong, empowered position if you'll give yourself permission to perceive your life in this way and what is going on at this time, because it's really easy to sort of sit in the martyrdom and the kind of looking at how hard life is. But actually, if we can take a different vantage point in May and look at the opportunity and have the strength to make the tough and the difficult decisions, and there may be some for you through the course of this month, then what we see surfacing is you having the opportunity to completely transform your life. And that begins now. That's why I'm saying, as we start now, the feelings start to follow with it, okay? One of the things you're also going to be aware of is where you're spending energy trying to please someone who isn't interested or isn't reciprocating or isn't able to, show you the value of your continued investment. And so something coming through in that way, whether that be personally, professionally for you, is also being considered, because in that 12th house of Taurus season, it's about an awful lot of letting go and coming to a place of acceptance. And there's a huge amount of healing coming up, which means that the trigger point, is also happening. So that is necessary, if you like, to get you to sort of wake up and look and really realize that it's like a now or never moment for you. It's like, okay, I want to make this bigger change in my life. And I think, on a day-to-day basis, if you can be asking yourself, what is it that I'm doing today? And how is that connected to what I value most and the vision that I have for the long term? And that should start to make some of the decisions that you make through the course of May a lot easier for you as you consider that. Four of Swords gives us time for reflection, and I think that's also important. We're coming up to midway through the year. We're going to be entering into your solar returns, and in that pause before you kind of step into the sunlight and let that illuminate the shift and change in your identity constructs, let's just see, what has changed, what's shifted for me, and give yourself permission to take stock. We talked about taking an inventory and an evaluation last month. It's still going on in May for you, because these choices and decisions have long-term impact for you. Okay, now Mercury shifts into Taurus, your ruler, on the 15th. Coming out of the shadow of the retrograde fully, and there's a deliberateness to how you are communicating and expressing yourself. You're taking your time, you're being thoughtful and very mindful, and I think that's going to be very helpful to ensure that you don't end up saying yes or getting involved in things that are going to be simply a distraction for you. There's something about the shifting nature of how you are strategizing in your own life that's really coming to life in May. There's a vibrancy and a potency, and you can feel it. And at the same time, you're withdrawing your energy. You're starting to look for ways to protect things that are important and that matter to you, so that you can start to build on things that you're feeling inspired and want to move towards. In your relationships through the course of May, you know, the Four of Swords suggests a quieter time. It can be a period of retreat. What I feel though is it's a balancing out. And perhaps that's needed if things felt a bit tumultuous through the months of, you know, sort of February, March, April. So it definitely feels like May is a time when perhaps even your attention is slightly being devoted elsewhere. And there's a sense of sort of recovery, I would say, and resiliency even with that strength showing up as well. That's incredibly helpful and beneficial for you in this first part of the month. Now, Pallas Athena, asteroid goddess, is also going retrograde this month in Scorpio. And, you know, we're able to face things along with Pluto shifting retrograde and have the difficult conversations. That's what she's really going to help us with. And for you, it might be about reciprocity. It might be about calling people out and saying, you know what, there's not enough give and take here, or I need help, or there's support, you know, that needs to be given in this instance, or I'm giving too much, I need to step back. So, you know, having that kind of a true understanding of the implication of things for you is a huge step forward in this shift and change in strategy that I see happening. I want you to be moving into each and every day this month, Gemini, with the questions of, you know, what can I create today? Can I create more balance for myself, a more peaceful, beautiful environment with which to work? Can I create something meaningful? Can I, you know, create something that's going to be a part of that future vision for myself, but also asking yourself, what can I receive today? And that's what the Six of Pentacles is reminding you of. You know, there is incoming energy here, and we're going to get to Jupiter coming into your sign. So this is all preparation, if you like, for how much have you learned in these last few years about the art of allowing? How much have you learned about what it means to believe and then receive? This is the test coming in the next few months, right? Now we've got a really beautiful, auspicious astrological conversation on the 18th with the Sun and Jupiter. And then as the Sun shifts into your sign on the 20th, the end of the month is just like this beautiful upward swing for you, Gemini. We've got the full moon in Sagittarius, lovely aspects with Venus and Jupiter. Then it's very fertile. There's a huge amount of growth, of luck, of fortuitous circumstances coming your way. And of course, then we're going to welcome Jupiter coming into your sign on the 25th. So major change happening that's going to impact you hugely. Jupiter expands and amplifies where it puts its focus. And, you know, there's this sort of splintering of energy when Jupiter is in Gemini. And we have to figure out, you know, is this right? Is this real? Like, what's truth? What's distorted? And, you know, there's so much information that can become very overwhelming. But on a personal note, it can also expand your knowledge. It can expand your capacity to be able to manifest and receive. And so as you put your focus and your intention on being deserved of that and of the work that you've done in this area, and looking at the things that you do in your life that perhaps are still perpetuating some old stories of feeling like I have to earn, and I have to kind of, you know, have penance before, you know, it's all of those parts of yourself that are limiting continuously and resisting the very things that you want. Now the Ace of Pentacles is coming in here as well. We have a very auspicious reset happening for you from a financial perspective. So something shifting and changing, whether you're considering the sources or streams of income or help or support is coming in, or after a period of something being quiet, all of a sudden it's picking up again. But this end of the month and around the full moon in Sagittarius, of course, we've got that 7th house mirroring energy, remember. And so there's a lot like that's coming up that's helping you to see, what was I doing and what was I saying that was contributing to that storyline constantly showing up for me. And it can be frustrating, right? It can be frustrating to keep having to sort of return to self, but that's the work. But because of that, what you do seem to be able to address through the month of May, and what I'm really seeing coming through for you, is a huge wave of new inspiration and ideas that are helping to set a completely different trajectory. Now, it may be that that solar eclipse has already closed a door for you or opened something, and you know, you're in that portal of change now, and it may be that you feel, well, I didn't really have a choice, I've got to move in this direction. But regardless, as I said, when you start, the feeling will follow. So the trigger point energy that's happening in May is going to be incredibly beneficial for you if you can see it for what it is and what it's doing and what it's trying to show you, okay? Huge growth can come from this, and you've got the insight and the mastery of certain situations that you're now being given, like the green light to apply. So how are you going to apply it? What are you going to do? Like, what are you going to take on that can demonstrate to yourself, because it's not about anybody else, right? That can demonstrate to yourself, well, here's how I've changed, and this is what this now means for my life. And it is deeply personal, and it is incredibly meaningful in terms of what you experience through this month, because you and you alone will be able to look back when you get to the end of May, and you'll really be able to realize to yourself, well, you know, the changes happened because I was willing to take that step. And if I've done that, what else can I do? So it's a huge kind of setup, preparatory experience that Jupiter will take and run with over the next few months. But it's bigger than that. It sort of, transcends just this month. It's about you recognizing how you're becoming more enlightened at the soul level as well. Now, if you're new to the channel, Gemini, our last 3 cards we cover in the extended version of the reading. You can find the link in the comment and description box underneath. We talk for another 30 minutes or so. We'll go deeper into these messages. We'll also look at a personal card and a relationship card for you, see what wants to come through. So I'm just going to go ahead and clarify these and see the messages that we'll be working with. All the decks I use are listed below. So our King of Cups is bringing in the Hermit. 3 of Swords, we've got Son of Swords, the Knight, 2 of Wands, got the 5 of Swords, Ace of Wands, nice to see these aces coming through, Hierophant, 2 of Coins, Queen of Cups. Okay, some good solid pentacles coming through for you this month. Now you can find my own deck, Life Soul Vision Oracle, over on the website if you're new to the channel. You'll also find my book, Ways to Work With Me, and all of the sacred titles and the things I create to support you on your spiritual journey. So please check that out over on romywiser.com. So let's have a look at Life Soul Vision, see how it wants to show up for us. We've got Earth Medicine and Magic. We've got Nourish Your Inner Wealth, Solstice, Blossoming Soul Song, Maverick of the Light, Dancer of the Shadows. We've got Alchemize the Ache. Okay, and just a couple of oracle cards for you. So this is the Oracle of the Universe. Let's see what it wants to show up for Gemini for May. We have Omega, Limitless. Okay, beautiful. And then the Rooted Woman. What do we have here? We've got Sovereignty, the Power of the Land. Beautiful. Gemini, I hope you'll join me for the extended. We'll dive into these messages in more depth. Have a beautiful month of May, and I will see you again next time. Take good care.